What's up, guys? Happy Friday. It's time for Friday Fun Day Part 4. This is going to be our 7th period shoutouts. 7th period was a freaking great class, man. It was definitely like one of the more enthusiastic classes, and it was funny. One thing I always joked around with 7th period is that you guys always got like my best lesson, because on A days I had first period, which was where I like would introduce the lesson, and first period was pretty smart, so it was like you understood, what they got and what they didn't get, and then second and third period was like making little adjustments here and there. And so then by the time I got to 7th period, it was like, all right, here's like the best lesson for you guys. All the things that I think you're going to understand it, and trimmed off all the ways that I think you're not going to understand it. And I think that like really showed in the class, because I think 7th period was like the most, 7th period definitely had the most people who were like enthusiastic and seemed to really enjoy learning math, which is like, that's like why I'm doing it, you guys. That's why I do what I do, because I want kids to enjoy it, because that's like when I was your age, that's kind of how I was. Like I really enjoyed learning like all the little tricks and how things actually relate like in real life and that kind of thing. So that's sort of what I try to bring to all my classes, and 7th period seemed to be the class that sort of picked it up the most. And I just really appreciate that, you guys. 7th period was so freaking awesome. So I will get into the list right now. Starting from the top, and again, this is the shout outs. This is, I'm just going through every single person from 7th period, saying something positive about them, because I got something good to say about everybody. Okay, so we will start at the top with Jasenia. And Jasenia, what I wrote down for you was, I was really excited about track season. I was so happy to see that you were out there running, and well, throwing mostly, but it's going to be a ton of fun. We've got a couple years once this all blows over. But Jasenia, I also just appreciated how much you like grew over the course of the year. From starting the year, maybe a little indifferent about math, towards the end of the year, actually like caring to learn more and participate more, which is awesome. So Jasenia, I hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Next up is Talia. And Talia, you were probably like one of the best question askers of like all of my students. And the main reason I say that is because it takes like a certain amount. I mean, I was in high school once, I get it. And it takes a certain amount of like bravery to ask questions that maybe seem like you should know them, I guess is a way to say it. And you're always the one to ask like those kind of questions, which is like what I need as a teacher, because without someone asking questions like that, I have no idea whether or not everybody's learning. And so with you asking those questions, everybody else kind of is like, oh, thank you. Like I was wondering the same thing, you know? So Talia, and you were just so consistently awesome all year. I just really appreciate you. I miss you. I hope you're doing well out there. So next up is Porter. And Porter, of course, is the sports man. That's what I wrote down for you. I love that, like, as 6th period ended, like, half of my class would not even be out the door yet, and you would already be on your way in. And you'd be like, Mr. Thompson, did you see the game last night? And we would talk for a few minutes about it or whatever. And it was awesome, man. I miss those conversations, and I'm really looking forward to this upcoming football season. I know you're like a Chiefs fan now, right? Because they won the Super Bowl. But I'm just looking forward to working with you and hopefully Michael with the football stats. I think that's going to be a ton of fun, having you guys maybe down on the field or up in the press box or whatever, just helping me out and talking about it all the time. So Porter, hope you're taking care, buddy. All right, Hudson, you are up next. And what I wrote down for you, Hudson, is this one memory I have where it was like homework time in class. And at one point you rose your hand and you were like, Mr. Thompson, I learned how to play Symphony of Destruction by Megadeth. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. Mainly because, well, first of all, I love heavy metal, as everybody knows. So that's like a great song. But second of all, heavy metal is like difficult to play on guitar. And so the fact that you like already know how to play that and you're like 16 years old is freaking wild, man. So you're obviously very talented, buddy. I was hoping to get out and see some baseball games this year. It didn't happen, but I hope you're taking care of yourself with your guitar playing. I hope you're practicing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next year, man. So Jasmine, you are next. And Jasmine, you have like a certain confidence about the way that you like ask questions and approach math class that is just freaking awesome. Like you're a great student, and you're like one of the students that I hope really goes on with math, like takes it to the next level. Maybe like you want to be an engineer or something. I don't know. I don't want to like put words in your mouth for what you want to be as a career. But I just love the way that like I'd be up there teaching, and maybe I'd screw something up, and you would just like, there was like no hesitation. You would just raise your hand and be like, you meant that, right? And you were just like so confident with the way you'd ask questions, which is just something that I think like brings the whole class up in a way, if that makes sense. So Jasmine, I hope you're taking care of yourself, doing well out there. All right, next up is Ashley. And of course, Ashley, I got to go back to the football season with you. You were one of the managers on the football team, so like pregame, I'd always be down there and we would talk about whatever. And I just loved that like in class, Like I'll never forget before the Kearns game, you were talking about how like you were texting one of your friends and they were like talking crap, and you would always like give me the lowdown on like all the different rivalries going on between the schools. And it was just it was a lot of fun, Ashley. And I loved having you in class. I just miss you. I hope you're doing well out there. Okay, Bryn, you are up next. And I'll never forget, like early in the year, you and Ashley sitting right up front and center, and you guys were like the go-to to just like bring, I mean, everybody had good energy in that class, but you guys sort of brought it front and center, if that makes sense. And Bryn, you were just always consistently awesome. I've said that about like a lot of the students in these videos, but that's like super important to just be able to carry that consistency through the whole year. And anytime, like if you ever like struggled on a concept or an exam, then I knew, I was like, all right, maybe I didn't teach that as well. So Bryn, you just keep crushing it. You're doing great. I hope you're taking care of yourself. All right. So next up is Cadence. And Cadence, you're like another one of those students that's like top 3 of like all my classes. And like I always joke around with you about how you're a little too hard on yourself. So you'll get like 39 out of 40 on an exam, and you'll be like, I'm like, all right, who wants to do a retake? And you kind of raise your hand like, I need 100%. It was just always kind of funny. I don't know. But yeah, Cadence, this might be the quarter for you to get the #1 overall grade. If you keep it up, I think you might get there, because our normal #1 from the past 3 quarters slipped up a little bit. So we'll see if you get there, Cadence. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Next up is Jordan. And I almost did it, but I didn't do it. So Jordan, the one thing that I think of with you is you were in class one day, and I was like, maybe you walked in and I was like, Jordan Johns, what's up, buddy? And you were like, why does everybody say that? Why can't you just call me Jordan? And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. I'll just try to call you that from now on. But I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. Jordan, you're a kid who I always like wondered what you were thinking and how you're feeling about math class and everything. And over towards the end of 3rd quarter, it seemed like you were kind of opening up a little bit, and we could talk football, which is something that I hope we can kind of share going forward. I hope this season goes the way we hope it will. And I'm just looking forward to working with you, buddy. I hope I get to see you a bit this summer with football workouts and everything. Hope you're taking care. Okay, next up is Tayton. And Tayton, what I wrote for you is I need more students like Tayton, because you are freaking awesome, man. Like the enthusiasm you bring every day is like you're one of a kind for sure. And I just love it because I'll be like up there doing an example and I'll be like at the very start of the example. Like I'll be like not even done writing it on the board. And Tayton, you're like, Mr. Thompson, I have the answer. And I'm like, okay, buddy, like we need to give everybody a chance to kind of walk through it. But I just miss it, man. I miss you bringing that energy. And like, I would rather have students like you 100% of the time than students that like don't talk at all. Like you just bring such a great energy and enthusiasm. And I just miss that, my man. I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you take another one of my classes in the future. All right, so next up is Emma Miller. And Emma, you were a new transfer, but you were like the awesome kind of new transfer, because you came in and you immediately like hit the ground running. And I know that you came from like a different school, which can be difficult, but you've also like showed interest in maybe being a football manager next year, which I think would be awesome. I'd love to have you. I know you're a great student and you would be just as good of a manager. So Emma, I hope you're doing well out there. So next up is Sage, the other Miller, and you and Emma are like the dynamic duo of Millers. But Sage, what I wrote for you is the memory that I won't forget that has to do with Emma, which is when she came to West Jordan and you came up to me like before class one day and you were like, Mr. Thompson, I have like an emergency. My friend is new here and I need to go help her out, and I think I might have to miss math class. And I was like, all right, well, like you understand what you need to do to make up what you missed, right? And you were like, yes, it'll be fine. So I was like, hey, like good luck. It was just, I don't know, it was kind of funny, but you did make everything up that you needed to, and you ended up doing well. You always do well, Sage. So you're consistently great. You're always on top of it. And I hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Next up is Oa. And Oa, we have like a love-hate relationship because you are super freaking smart, but you're always giving me the attitude, which is hilarious, man. It's another kind of energy that I think is always fun to have in a classroom. But I can always, whenever I'm like, all right, we're going to do one more example, and I look over at Oa, and you're just rolling your eyes out of your head, like an eye roll that rivals Hunter's eye rolls from first period. But Oa, like when you really applied yourself in math, you freaking crushed it, and you were awesome. So I hope that you continue to apply yourself in the future, and I just hope you're taking care, buddy. So next up, we've just got a few left here. Next up is Shaylee. And I think I can say this with confidence, Shaylee, that you are probably the most improved student out of all of my students this year, which is like that's like super high praise, because it's one thing to be like naturally, like to step into math class day one and just understand everything. Like it just makes sense. But it's another thing to really like work for it and to really push yourself to understand concepts that are maybe not as easy to get like the first time around. And that's something I always tell the students is that the first time you learn something is never easy. It's very rare that you just get everything immediately. And so Shaylee, like just to see the way that you improved and the way that you always push yourself to make sure you understand things and do well on exams. And like, I'll never forget early in the year, you like wrote something on your exam kind of saying like, you're basically like, I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, I don't think my pea brain understands what you're asking me to do here. And I kind of like giggled at it, but I was like, come on, Shaylee, like, you know you can do better. And then you did, and you always just were improving and building on stuff that we learned and just getting better throughout the year. So I appreciate that, Shaylee. I hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Okay, so next up is Noemi. And Noemi, you had a great turnaround, like probably about halfway through, maybe second quarter, I think, where we had a couple tough conversations and we just figured out what was going to be the best way for you to be in class learning. And you like, from that point forward, there were no issues really. Like you were always in class, you took good notes, you were always working on your tests and everything. And you're a freaking smart girl, Noemi. So I really hope you're doing well out there. Hope you're taking care of yourself. All right, Andrea. Andrea, what I wrote for you was, you had like one of the most impressive starts to the year. And to elaborate a little bit on that, I'll never forget, like you came in like day one, day two, and you didn't speak like a lot of English at the start of the year. So I had like the Spanish notes and everything. And I don't know, you might have taken them like one time, but then I remember at one point I was like, all right, I was handing out all the English notes and then I got to you and I was like, oh, let me grab the Spanish notes real quick. And you were like, okay, thank you. And then when I went to hand them to you, you were like, actually, no, I'm going to use these. So you like wanted to challenge yourself to like not only learn math, but learn math in a language that wasn't like your first language, which is just, that like is a perfect embodiment of how impressive you are just as a student. Like you're always challenging yourself, always asking good questions. Anytime you showed up to AIP, I was like, oh gosh, what did I do? Like, what did I screw up that you don't get it? So Andrea, I just keep crushing it. You're so awesome as a student. I'm so happy to have you. I was happy to have you out there with the hurdles. And I just hope you keep going. I hope you're taking care of yourself out there. Okay, next up is Kaya. And Kaya, a lot of like funny memories with you. So you transferred like, I think third quarter, maybe at the start of third quarter, something like that. Or actually, no, it was earlier. Because you were one of those students where we had a kind of a fun day. I don't know, what exactly was the point of that day? There was a day where, it was the high school basketball game where everybody was at the game. And you had just barely like broken your ankle, which that's kind of a funny, like I remember right before that happened, I was like, Kyle, what are your plans for the weekend? And you're like, oh, I'm going to like go to like maybe the basketball game. There's like this cheer thing. And then the next day, Bree came into class and Bree was like, Kaya broke the crap out of her ankle. And it was just hilarious. Like, not that, obviously that's not hilarious, but it was just like after that, the way that you kind of rebounded and you would always like show up early and you had to like roll through with your what do you even call that, like the scooter thing. But yeah, that day where there were like only 5 of us maybe, and we were all just hanging out like because the boys basketball game was going. We had our little review, and I don't know, all the kids that were in that review, that was just a lot of fun. And we had a couple days like that with 7th period where there were just a few kids, for whatever the reason those B days landed the way they did. And those days were just so much fun, and those are the ones that I really remember. So Kaya, I hope you're doing well out there. All right, we just got a couple more here. Dulce. So Dulce, you had some attendance issues, but you showed so much potential when you showed up to class. And like whenever you worked with Miss Lori was like, she's freaking smart as heck. So like if she can just show up, she's gonna get it. So Dulce, I just hope that you can push forward and just get done the things that you need to get done. Because when you put your mind to it, you definitely can do it. So Dulce, I hope you're doing well out there. All right, last up is Bree. And Bree, I freaking miss your enthusiasm. It was always so fun. I loved like every conversation we had, and it was funny because you wanted me to sign that cheer thing, and you're like, I hope that you'll give me like a good review for cheer. And it was like, Bree, how could I possibly give you a bad review? Like, you're always in class, you're always telling me that like math is your favorite class, you're always just happy to be there, and you just show so much enthusiasm for it. And again, like that's like the theme with 7th period, was just the enthusiasm that everybody showed. And Bree, I think you encapsulated it just as much as anybody. And you always did so well on all your exams and everything. And the sky's the limit for you going forward. I hope you're taking care of yourself out there, Bree. So that's it, you guys. That's the end of our math class shout out videos. I'll try to come up with something else fun to do, maybe next Friday. We'll see, we'll go from there. But until then, everybody take care. I miss y'all, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video.